This next recipe is for Nikki from Taylor's Lakes. She's won the Bosch Flavour Combination competition, and I love your combination of ribs and cola. So I'm going to make pork ribs with lots of different flavours and spices here, and I'm also going to be serving it with some coleslaw. Now over here I've got a big roasting pan that can not only go on the stove top but can also go in the oven. Now we need to season this with some salt and some pepper, and once your pan is really hot like mine is, we're going to add some vegetable oil and we'll start to get some colour on them, so we'll seal them off. Oh, perfect fit. Now I've toasted off some spices here, whole spices, some star anise, some cumin seeds, some coriander and a whole cinnamon here. And I like to use a small hand blender with a small bowl attachment to grind these spices. So I'll just give the cinnamon a helping hand there, crush it up, and all these other spices can go straight in a blender just like this one. Now let's blitz this. All right, let's have a look. Oh, the smell is just incredible. You can see it's still a little bit chunky. That's what I'm looking for. Now I'm just going to put my spices to the side now. Let's go turn these pork ribs. Hope for some colour. That's what we're looking for. And now for some chilli. I'm going to leave it quite whole. I'm actually just going to cut it on an angle in half, and it's just going to give it a mild heat instead of finely chopping it. Now let's take this meat out of the tray. Oh, they smell so good. And we haven't even added the cola and the soy yet. Now in this pan, we're going to add 1 onion that is just sliced, along with finely sliced ginger. You can also mince that, but make sure you use fresh here, and some garlic. I'm just going to mix that in the oil there. We're going to return our pork. Again, just laying them on top of those onions. Any juices from the pan, add them. And now we can deglaze. So I'm adding some sherry. You could also use some Shaoxing wine here. Beautiful. We'll add our chili in now. And don't forget these spices. So the spices can just be sprinkled over the top there. Just turn it over to make sure that all of those spices are on both sides of our pork ribs. Next step, 1 cup of cola, so in it goes. We'll allow that just to bubble away. We need half a cup of soy, and then that can go in too. Some more liquid, a little bit of stock, and you just want to submerge the pork ribs. Now to cover it, a little bit of baking paper to start with. I like to scrunch it up and then place it in. It just makes it much easier to mould into the pan there. And then just for some extra protection, a little bit of foil. And now into the oven. So I'll give this about an hour and a half. I'll check it. Once the meat's starting to fall apart and is really tender, it's ready. Now the ribs are nearly cooked, so that's just enough time for me to make a mayonnaise and a coleslaw. I've got 3 egg yolks here, and we're going to start with the mayonnaise. They go straight into our mixing bowl here, and I'm adding a little bit of mustard. This is how I like to make my mayonnaise. A good teaspoon of mustard there. I'll also add a pinch of salt at this stage, a little bit of pepper for seasoning. We can correct it at the end also, and we'll start giving that mix. And you'll see that it will just start to come together, and then we can add the oil. Now with the oil, you want to add a little bit at a time. If you add too much at the beginning, you're not going to get that thick, silky result. Once it starts to thicken up, then you can be a little bit more generous with the oil. So I'll keep doing this until we get a thick mayonnaise result. Now this mayonnaise is looking just perfect. Have a look at that, silky, golden, it's thick. I need to add some vinegar now, so just some white wine vinegar. You could also use some cider vinegar, is fantastic. And we'll just mix it up again, just to combine. Perfect. Now I love the addition of chives for this, and not just a small amount. a whole bunch of chives, instead of adding onions to your coleslaw, these are fantastic because they're much milder. So I'm just going to cut them into, these are about 2 to 3 millimeters long. And I did say the whole lot, so they go straight in, and we'll just give that another little mix. Okay, so now for the fun bit, I'm just going to add my attachment, my grater attachment here. I'll just click it into place. Perfect. And now I'll start with the carrot. And what happens here is it not only mixes, but at the same time, it grates. How good is that? And now for the cabbage. That goes straight in, and we'll do it in batches. And there you have it, homemade mayonnaise that's made a beautiful coleslaw. Everything's combined nicely. So all we need to do now is just wait for those ribs to finish cooking, and then we can bring it all together. Now the ribs have cooked in the oven. They've been cooking slowly for about an hour and a half, and have a look at this. Wow, thick, sticky sauce. That's what we're looking for. A really deep, rich colour. So I like to present this American style on a board, quite rustic. Pile them up as high as you can get them. These onions here in the sauce are a must to add to the top. Get a few spoonfuls of this over the top. And that little bit of chilli that we added, I like to put on the top. And don't forget, we've also made a coleslaw here, a big bowl of that, and voila. And don't forget, it's a must to have these really soft American-style bread rolls. Burger rolls are fantastic. Some of that coleslaw, and then get your hands dirty. Get that melt in your mouth pork there. A fantastic flavour combination using pork ribs and cola.